Yeah, let's start. Let's continue from what we where we left. So we were discussing about Dockerfile, right? I think yesterday we have discussed about what is it, how do we why do we use it, I mean how to write Dockerfile, blah blah, and all these things. Today we'll continue that. As I told you, in yesterday's class, this is the worst Dockerfile ever. You know why? Because as I told you, see the main point of Docker or main point of containers is to reduce the size as much as possible. To reduce it as much as possible. So here, if you see in Dockerfile, there are maybe 10 or 11 layers something. Each layer, the more the layers, the more the size will be. So if you keep on adding the layers, the size will be increased. So that's why generally what we do is we'll try to merge, we'll try to reduce the stage layers as much as possible. Imagine like onion. So you have an onion, right? If you there will be layers, obviously. If you peel it, these are all layers, and finally you'll get a small one. Similar that. This is the small one, the base image. On top of it, first layer, second layer, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 layers are there. So the more the layers, the more the size will be usually. So what we can do is there are few practices, which we can follow to reduce the Docker image size. I think currently, if I remember, 280 MB or something. Let's see. Sorry, sorry. No, 260 MB. Let's see if we can reduce this somewhat at least. So first thing, how to reduce is what to reduce. Always starts with the base image. See, first think about it. So what base image do you need for your requirement? Depends on that one first. So as I told you, there are alpine images where why we use Nginx Alpine because they come with a very less size. Like if I remember 5 or 10 MB something maximum. So Ubuntu is how much? I think Ubuntu is 60 MB or something. Of course, it's not that much difference, but in our case, it's not maybe not much, but generally the base image always look for the image size and always take less sized images. And of course, reduce the layers, remove the unnecessary lines or content whatever you don't want. Let's say best example, run is there, run apt install, again run apt update, I mean apt install is there, run touch something is there. Why there are three? We can merge these run statements into one. Like how? As one layer we can able to do. Simple, just give like this. Just one command now, one Linux command. So of course this backward slash is for new line. It's a continuation actually. And what is other run command? This one, right? Touch. Why the touch is in separate? Sorry. Why the touch is in separate? So we can like merge like this. So now this is a one stage only with multiple commands, which may reduce some size. I mean, I'm not sure how much it will reduce, but it will reduce something, obviously. And of course, apt update -y means it will install lots of things we don't need. We can pass some, no, do not install recommendations like this. What happens now is apt update means it will just update the packages. Usually, what happens is without this, it will update the package and it download few things which are not required. I mean, which it recommends to us. But of course, we don't need them. That's why I do like this. So what happens is uh, this command just update or install whatever we mentioned. It won't install the recommendations, which may reduce few MB size. And of course, now we used to have three layers more extra, three run layers. So now we reduced them to one. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 are there. We reduced two layers. And of course, we modified some commands. There is one more. Usually, if you use apt, there is one more thing called clear the cache, remove the cache. So what happens is, I think this should be correct. So it's fine. So what happens is like whatever you install, it will download usually. That's what happens, right? With the M install or with apt install, it will download and it will store it. It usually it will store. It won't delete. It will be in there will be folder. Let me check the folder. I think varlib apt only, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, see varlib apt list. So this is the folder. See, this is the folder. Inside the list, there will be. I mean, why I'm saying all these things? Sorry, why I'm saying all these things is in. See, let's say once you install the package, let's say you install Nginx or curl or wget, you you don't need them. The service is already installed means the downloaded file, whatever is downloaded, you don't need them. So you can remove them. That's what I'm doing here currently. So when you install, what happens is, let's say it will download the package from this official repository and install it. But once installed, the package is not required anymore. It can be deleted. So all those things by default will be stored here. And of course, wherever you see, I'm telling you again, this order, I wrote first env, later run, work directory, expose, blah blah something. Except from the first line and last line, CMD or entry point, remaining order can be changed anyway according to your application requirements. Got it right? This copy is there, right? It can go to top. There is nothing wrong. Why no? Don't you think like, oh, this is the order we have to write, env hash we have to write? No, no. It's all depends on how you write it. That's it. There is no order. Of course, the order only you have to follow the first one from the last one command or enter point. That's so that is the only thing. And in between you can change anything. See, run two runs were there, and later point of time there was run to create something. If you really need this touch command, no need, right? Delete it. So like that, reduce layers as much as possible is one of the no, main thing to reduce the Docker's image size. Of course, there is one more method that we'll discuss once this is done. So like there are lots of things, as I told you, using the less sized base image, reducing the layers like these, merge few, instructions. I mean the Docker commands, whatever you wrote. If possible, merge them, remove unnecessary files, don't install unnecessary packages. All these kind of things will help in, reducing the size. And of course, there are few more methods as I told you, which we'll discuss today. Let it build first. Hmm. Why the hell it is taking too much time? Let's okay, there is a 19 MB package. It is taking some time to download. Let it download. Yeah, it's done. Let's see. Alright. It's going on. Hmm. Yeah, going on, going on. Yeah, it's finally done. Let's see if it is reduced some size or not. See, what was earlier? See here, 260 MB. How much we reduced? 100 MB we reduced by just removing few dependencies. By just removing few dependencies like install no recommends, removing all these unnecessary packages, and merging few layers, obviously. See, we reduced 100 MB. Of course, we cannot merge env into one env, or copy. We have to add commands. Let's say that cannot be merged. Only run has that option because they are commands, right? So commands can be merged, but these are Docker instructions which we cannot do. Of course, there is one more way for env which we can able to do. How to do it? Instead of env, just in the run only, in the run, just simply export. Linux command is there, export a is equal to 10. This is also same thing. Same thing, that's it. It also assign variables. Env also assign variables, but except env we just using Docker instruction, that's it. But here we are using Linux one, which is fine. I mean, there is nothing wrong. See, as long as you want to reduce the size, you have to do all these things. Got it? So that's how generally, I mean, that's how generally we do basic things. So there are a few more things like this. Meanwhile, since it's building, let it build. So there is one more called Docker ignore. Just like a git ignore, Docker ignore is there. So what happens with the Docker ignore is, see, usually what happens is like, when we build an image, or let's say when we build an image, let me show you. Docker ps minus image is going on building in current, right? Yeah. So what happens is we have layers, right? Let's go to, we have layers, right? Obviously, this will take some time. These are all fine. It won't take much time anyway. So for each and every layer, whenever you're building something, it will create intermediate containers. What does it mean, intermediate containers? It means, see, you told to build an image and you told to execute some commands. Where the hell it will run? Obviously on top of Ubuntu, right? Because on top, that's what we use it as a base. That's what we told Docker that, hey, use this as a base image, create our own image. So what happens with Docker, what it will do is, see, it has to execute this command now. That's what is happening, right? What happens? It won't execute on the system, on your laptop or in the host, wherever it's running. It will create one container temporarily and execute that particular layer in that container. Once this layer is done, it will delete the container immediately. They are temporary containers, we can call it. But here in Docker terminology, they call it intermittent containers. Intermittent containers. Because they are temporary. We don't create them, we don't delete them. Docker creates it for building the image, and Docker deletes it once the image is done, build is done. That's what happens. Intermediate containers. Okay, as I told you, env is nothing, but yeah, you can reduce the layers as much as possible. Just one value, not even a KB size. But yeah, that's fine. I wanted to show you intermediate containers. So which will create and will delete automatically, so you don't need to do anything. Now there is one more thing to reduce the size a bit, to make the build faster also. There is something called Docker ignore. It's a file actually we create. Just like how we do git ignore, it's a file actually. So what happens usually is Docker, when you build it, let's say Docker build here, it will read the folder completely, downloads, it will read the downloads folder completely, and it will read all these files, whatever present in that file. If let's say the folder is huge, GB size, it will read each and every file. It will read each and every file. Why? That's how it works. It will read it and it will start building. But let's say here, okay, here they are just files now, it won't take much time. Here it's fine. But if there is, let's say, huge data in this folder, I'm building the Docker file from this folder. You know what happens? It will take too much time, too much time. So that also will be consume some Docker image space, and as well as it will be a little time taking process again. Time taking process means the build will take too much time. So to fix that, we have something called Docker ignore, where we can give some file name or folder name. It will ignore that. It means while building the image, it won't read that file. Let's say dot, 1 minute. What is there? Class dot prim as an example. So class dot prim, write like this. Or let's say you have any folder node underscore modules, or you have something, anything as I told you, dot log, sorry, star dot log. It means all the dot log files will be ignored. I can give here star dot pem. I have two files. Like this, you can able to give anything I'm telling you. Mm, What happens is whatever we mentioned here, when you build Docker file, it won't read them. It will ignore them. Let's say whatever I mentioned, maybe huge size, it will ignore them. So the build will be faster and the size will be reduced. Of course, for now, our just these are just normal K 1 KB 2 KB files. It's not really impact, but it's a huge. I told you some node modules I wrote. This is an modules for application, for front-end application, which will take around GBs. So we usually don't need them. That's why I wrote like that. We ignore them. Got it? So whatever you write in Docker ignore, while building the Docker image, it will ignore them. Dot Docker ignore. Got it? Similar to git ignore. We have git dot git ignore also, where we give some file names or folder names in git ignore, it won't push them. That's what happens. It won't push them to, whenever we push something, right, whatever the files present in the git ignore, it won't consider them, right? Similar way here, Docker ignore whatever the files or whatever the content present in that Docker ignore. Docker, while building the Docker image, it won't consider them, it'll ignore them. That's what happens. So always make sure you use Docker ignore. Always make sure you use Docker ignore. Got it? That's sorry, that's the Docker ignore. Another approach to reduce the Docker image size. So one thing is reduce the layers, use the base image with very less size, remove unnecessary package and everything. Another is Docker ignore. These two are the few things. And finally, there is one more called multi-stage Docker build. What the hell is multi-stage Docker build? Right. Clear. Multi-stage Docker. So this is a Docker file. From statement is there, as I told you. Yeah, all good. All fine, right? I mean, there is nothing wrong with it. Let's say I want to reduce the size even more. One thing. And another thing is, see, imagine a scenario. We have, let's say, Maven application. Maven build is done. Once the Maven build is done, we don't need Maven, right? We just need Tomcat or something to Java to deploy. We don't need the code also once we deploy. Correct? We don't need the code also. I think you remember Maven still, I believe. So we build Maven code, we get an artifact, .var, .jar, whatever it is. And we need only that. We don't need Maven code, anything. Of course, we need Java to run, but we don't need Maven anymore. Once the artifact is ready, we don't need Maven. We don't need Maven code, Maven dependencies, package, whatever it is. We just need that app. But imagine you wrote a Docker file. Maven, Maven is there, Maven MVN clean install, you did Maven packages are there, Maven code is there, obviously. Maven dependency is there, you're running it. Imagine now how much size. Let's write it. Why to say? Let's remove this for now. Let's take a sample. See, I told you, no need to worry about writing Docker files, blah blah and everything. Maven Docker file example. It will give you. It will give you. See, it gave to. It gave multi-stage file Docker. Let's okay. Let's write it. Why? These are comments. They added comments for each and everything. That's it. Don't worry. Just comments. See, just comments. Form.xml. It's copying. Remove this for now. See, this is the Docker file, let's say, as an example, Docker file. So what's happening here? Of course, we're copying the code, which is good. All these things are fine. We are installing the package. Clean package means obviously download, the dependencies and everything. And of course, we are running the artifact. For example, like this. See now, the artifact, once the artifact is built, right? We don't need the code anymore once the artifact is built because we just need this. We just need this app.jar file or whatever the .var file like that. We don't need the code, we don't need the packages also which is installed. This is unnecessary right now in this case. You getting my point, right? Once we got the package, we don't need any other thing. We just need the package to deploy. That's it. Correct? Why the hell we need all these things now? How to skip all these things? Simple, we do one thing. There is something called multi-stage Docker builds. It means we'll write multiple from statements like this. It's like two Docker files we write, but finally we'll use only one. We'll get only one. We build only one. That I'll tell you. Don't worry now. Simple. We'll write maybe let's say from Tomcat as a maybe 9. Mm, what we want. So what I'm trying to do is now, see, I have the build ready. I just need the build to deploy in Tomcat. That's it. No code, no package, no dependencies, nothing. So now the build is in here. It's built here. Now how to get it? Simply copy hyphen from is equal to from as build it is saying from build the name of the stage it is multi-stage Docker build as I told you each stage can have a name slash opt slash tomcat slash web apps. That's it, right? Maybe entry point or cmd we can write like this. How sh as an example I'm writing sh catalina.sh start, and that's it. So now what happens? What happens now is simple. This is one Docker file. I'm building an artifact. Of course, directly I can deploy here also. Run Java jar some blah blah something. But I got some unnecessary things here which I want to remove. Like now code I don't want it. Whatever this is, I don't want it. I want only the artifact. Now what I did, I wrote another stage. I wrote another stage and I copied just the sorry, wait. I just copied just the artifact target slash maybe app dot jar as an example, app dot var, let's say. I just need the artifact, so I just copied from it. From where? From here. From here, I just copied. How you copied? Because when you write a multi-stage Docker fields, you have to give like this a name like this. From this is until this you know this. As build you have to give. Why? Because as build or builder, whatever the name. So we are telling Docker that hey, we have two stages. One is builder stage, another is normal. Or we have 10 stages. Each and every might have a name, but one without a name that will gets build. Now it means when I build Docker image, this will both will build, but finally only this will get picked up. This will build and the package whatever it is there, it will be copied and this will be ignored because we don't need this anymore. We just need this. We already got it. As simple as that. Now if I build it, it will be like that. Got it? Now if I build it, it will be like this. First, of course, we need to test it and we need few modifications. Let's first clone our code. It's in public repository, anyone can download, no need to log in, blah blah and everything. Of course, if you want to push it, you need to log in, but otherwise, no, no need to log in. Desktop, keep it maybe downloads. No need of git clone. We have downloaded zip. It's still downloading. Oh, okay, let it download. That's okay, let it download. Got it. Now unzip sample. We have the code. Remove RF. Simply sample. I just keep app. Now, where is the Docker file? Yeah, let's open Docker file. First, remove this multi-stage. Let's write only one. So from main, if you write one, no need of this as build because it's fine. So remove this and work directory app, which is fine. Copy app to sorry to slash app, which is fine. I mean, we are copying our app folder to app, of course, and we are building the image. Finally, once we build, what we do, we run it, right? CMD or entry point, whatever it is. I mean, Java hyphen jar target slash simple web app dot var. I know this the artifact. That's why I wrote it. Simple hyphen web hyphen app. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Now this is the Docker file to build our Maven app and to run it. Let's build it obviously. Docker build hyphen t Maven app dots. Sorry. Let it build. It'll take some time eventually. It'll take some time, don't worry. See, let it. It's because it's pulling the image, the Maven image, whatever you mentioned. Hmm. Hmm. Let's wait. Let's wait. It's still pulling. See, due to why the image size, that's how it is. Of course, but just for testing, it's fine. But in reality, so always make sure you don't use these, you know, huge images. Let it build. It started. It's going on. Maven build started. I mean, download all the dependencies, blah blah blah, and everything. Maven clean package. We're skipping test. Of course, we're not testing. There is no test cases and everything. But yeah, it's fine. We're just skipping. Building. See, build success. Export. Of course, CMD won't run now, right? Come on. Yeah. What now? Let's see what is the image size. See, 909 MB. You know why? Because first thing, the base image is more, the size is more. That's one thing. Another thing, the code, of course, code might be less, not much, maybe 1 MB or 2 MB. But the packages it's downloaded. It's downloaded lots of dependencies, lots of, I'm telling you, right? Lots of. So, of course, now where file is ready, but we don't need the packages anymore. We don't need the code anymore. Still, how to fix that? As I told you, that's where this comes. What is it? Multi-stage Docker bits. Now I'll write one more statement from what? Maybe Tomcat 9 work directory slash app as an example. Now copy. What I'll do, I'll copy from this stage. So of course we have to give a name to this stage. What name? Builder I give. I mean build or builder, whatever it is. From builder stage slash app slash target. Because we copied the code into app, it means the artifact is inside app target. This is the one. So just simple understanding. And where you want to copy slash opt slash tomcat slash web apps. It will copy here, and of course write the CMD or entry point whatever sh that no, no, sorry, that's it. Now what happens if I do it one I what I wrote is I wrote two stages. One is just for builder, another is Tomcat deployment. So now what happens? This is stage, that's why we gave the name. So it will build, and in the next stage, whatever it's built ready, the simple var file, it will get copy from builder. This is the stage name. See, it should be matched. From builder, we are copying it and we're building it. So when we build, what happens is it will build both, but this part will be ignored in the final Docker image because it has a name. It means it has to be ignored. That's how multi-stage works. Now let's try again. So it's pulling Tomcat 9. So, same as I told you, see, it's running MN clean package, blah blah blah. All this run, it'll run usual as usual. It'll run. But ultimately, in the final Docker image, that stage, builder stage is there, right? Where we build the Docker image and other things. Sorry, maybe other things that will be ignored. Let's see. Hmm. It will take some time, obviously. Ah, got it. It's built. The thing is, if it is a building stage, why the hell CMD is there? That's the error it's throwing. See, if it is build means Docker, we just build it and it will ignore. This is the ultimate, final whatever present in the Docker. Why it's first CMD was present? That's why I removed it. Sorry, my bad. So let's build again. It's build. What is the image size? Oh, see, it's reduced. It's now 783 MB. At least how much reduced? 100, 120, something like that around. See, like that. Like this way also we can able to reduce the Docker image size. This is one of the way. Famous. Most people use this one. See, of course, we write Docker files also normally, but multi-stage Docker also very much important, which everyone nowadays everyone uses multi-stage Docker because it reduces lots of size which we don't need them. That's why. That's why all these things. Got it? So that's how we reduce the Docker file size and everything. Because see that the main point of Docker is it come with a less size only compared to VM. So if now this also going GBs, what is the point of having using Docker, right? That's why we do all these tricks to reduce the Docker image size. There, as I mentioned, few things. Always start with less sized base images, and of course, always reduce the layers as much as possible. Use Docker ignore one thing. So while building, it'll ignore few directories or folders which we don't need. And as well as multi-stage Docker builds. And combining all these things, we can reduce few things, few MBs. So now I'm building again. See, it's cached. Everything is cached. See, cache, cache, cache. I mean, it took from cache. I don't want to took it from cache. What the hell I need to do? Simple. Pass hyphen hyphen no hyphen cache. That's it. Anywhere in the command. After Docker build, anywhere you can pass like this. It will do everything from starting again. See, it'll do. See, it download the dependencies, everything again. Hyphen hyphen no cache. You can able to use it, which is fine. Got it? Got it? This is. It'll take some time, obviously, to build. It's done. So that's about Dockerfile. How we write, how we reduce the size, blah blah, and all this thing. Got it? Is it clear? Any doubts so far before we close the call? If no doubts, yeah. If doubts, yeah, ping me. If no doubts, yeah, we can close the call. Let's not leave. Let me just close the recording.